Good morning. It is day number 7 on the Palmetto Trail. I am doing something different today. I am finishing off the Blue Wall Passage, which means that I'll be doing strictly road walks. But I'm going to be going through a cute town apparently. So stay tuned for that. I actually don't mind road walks once in a while because then I don't have to worry about snakes so much and where I'm stepping. The maps that I'm using don't seem to be 100% accurate, but from what I can tell, it's about a 7-mile walk today. But there's nothing stopping me from talking about God on these road walks. So in our last hike, we learned how Gideon tested God with his double fleece test. And now he feels confident that God is on his side and he is ready to go to battle. So Gideon and his men were camped on the upper side of the valley, and his enemies, the Moabites, were camped in the valley. Gideon had 32,000 men, and the Moabites were 135,000 men. But God told Gideon that he had too many men, and so the ones who were fearful and afraid were to be sent home. This must have really tested Gideon's faith, because 22,000 men went home. You see, fearful people can make others fearful. If they desert you in battle, others could flee. This was actually standard practice initiated by Moses. Anyway, the 2/3 that did leave constitute a sad commentary on the extent to which idolatry destroyed Israel's faith in God. But God told Gideon there was still too many people. So he had them go to some water, and the men who stopped and knelt down to drink were set aside, and those who just scooped up the water in their hands, they were set aside. The ones who took the time to kneel were told to go home because it was obvious they weren't too anxious to get fighting. So Gideon was left with 300 men, but it was with these men that the Lord promised to bring about the defeat of the Midianites. The sifting served to remove those who were tainted with idolatry, and the ones left were singled out because of their courage and faith. They had the faith to believe in God that success would be theirs even though their number was small. Perhaps the Brookside test was in the evening, and the bulk of the Israelite forces departing for their homes was done under the cover of darkness. At any rate, the Midianites did not seem to notice that the major part of the Israelite force had gone away. It really is a nice little walk. There is not a busy road at all, but it has started to rain. It's not supposed to last too long though. Anyway, God wanted Gideon to attack that night, but he said to Gideon,
"If you are afraid, go down to their camp with your servant and hear what they say, and then you shall be strengthened to go after them."
God was willing to give added reassurance and a sign of encouragement if he was willing to stealthily go down to the Midianite camp and listen to what the soldiers were saying. Taking a break from the talk because we're coming into downtown Landrum. Obviously some train history here. That's got to be the old railroad station. Well, this is the first interesting store I've come to, but they're closed right now. Oh, now we're getting into some cool stuff, Amish furniture. But sadly, I'm too early for things to be open. Well, this is a neat store too, full of antiques. Cool, but they're not open either. Wow, this is neat. Native American Gallery. Dutch country foods. Look at these strawberries. Beautiful. Such nice landscaping. This is a massive Baptist church. Amazing. I love their front entry, and it was built in 1926. Well, that was a super cute downtown. I recommend this place if only the stores were open. And now I'm passing by their cemetery. Lots of history in there, I'm sure. Well, let's get back to the story now. So the gist of what Gideon heard was that one soldier was telling another soldier about his dream. And this dream, a loaf of bread tumbled into their camp, and it struck a tent and even took down the tent, and it collapsed. Then his companion said,
"This is nothing else than the sword of Gideon, and into his hand God will deliver Midian and the whole camp."
The dream depicted Gideon as basic food, which the Midianite raiders had been taking from the Israelites. Inasmuch as Midian was a son of Abraham, these people must have spoken a language similar to that of the Hebrews. Beautiful. Now getting into more countryside. Oh, some cute little sheep through there. In any event, God enabled Gideon to understand both the dream and its interpretation, and so he was inspired with confidence to fulfill the commission that he had been given. When Gideon heard this, he worshiped God. He finally realized that God was with him. No doubt his prayer was filled with thankfulness. And here's a nice stream. So often, those of us who are especially blessed by God forget to return the gratitude due Him. I sure am passing beautiful horse farms. Gideon could have reasoned that with the urgency of the assignment and the need for immediate action, he could put off until after the victory his worship and praise of God. But such postponements often lead to the utter neglect of God. Also, it's people like this that God can use because He knows that they will not take the glory for themselves. Pride and self-sufficiency unfit a man for the work of God. The end of this blue wall passage ends at an equestrian center, and they have a show this weekend. So that makes my mother very happy. She can hang out here while I'm hiking. Pretty neat. Oh, the horse threw the rider and she's down. I didn't catch it on video. Well, that was a 5-mile walk instead of a 7 like I thought it might be. It's hard to tell on the map sometimes. Anyways, it is kind of challenging to do a talk on the road because there's so many external noises and cars going by. I hope you are blessed, and the story will continue on in the next hike.